2, 1.
All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments Silicon Reviews. Up this week are two games, first of which is Golem Gates. We played this game, 2 days ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most of them did the multiplayer. I was having a Skype issue, which is not the first time that's ever happened with one of these games.
Mm-hmm. Lucky bastard.
Oh, tip the hand, why don't you? Right, so Golem Gates here, if you didn't see any of the footage or can't see the current window we are recording in, is a strange hybrid of genres. It's a real-time strategy game with card battling. It's basically fused with a collectible card game.
And that determines both what effects you can do, like battle effects, and also determines what units you can build.
It's also billing itself as part of a MOBA as well. That's the whole, Harbinger thing. The individual heroes. But but it's more RTS than MOBA, if I'm being honest.
It is.
Certainly a cut down RTS experience. You're not dealing with any bases or very limited in resources. There is resource management, but it's pretty light, all things considered.
Yeah.
No, definitely Fog of War.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really intense. You can't see very far away from either yourself or your units. There is a spell that we got near the end of our play session in one of the random things that is a spell that lets you click on an area and get a fairly small area that you can see freely, and even if it's not near your stuff. But
there's another spell called the All-Seeing Eye, which allows you to see everywhere.
But I bet that costs you already have to have captured 3 or 4 plants worth of energy.
It does cost a fair amount. It all depends on how much you start with, which varies from level to level or scenario to scenario. It's certainly not a uniform thing. And yeah, that is kind of important because since there's no unit, traditional RTS mechanics, it's all about where you can place your chips, I think they call them, or
glyphs or something like that.
Yeah, there we go.
Glyphs.
Glyphs. Because you don't have any wait times or anything in terms of summoning units.
Structures have a wait time, but units don't.
Yeah. So with that, it's that's why the Fog of War is really important in this game, because indeed, one of the scenarios you can play is the enemy Harbinger is behind a whole bunch of nigh impenetrable defenses, and you got 7 minutes to kill him. So you got to use the All-Seeing Eye to move units right where he is. Right. So I think we shouldn't dance around the main issue anymore. This doesn't work like at all.
No.
Like,
Aside from we had some pretty significant technical issues, it's also just the mechanics in the game have some. They're not the. I see what they're going for, but
Mhm.
the random chance of your I mean, no matter how well you build your deck, the random chance of things coming up when you need them just doesn't really work for an RTS where you're trying to plan your stuff.
no,
Yeah.
it's like there's a reason why the random stuff tends to be turn-based. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because
And you do when you run out of glyphs in your book, you reshuffle them, and that's 15 seconds in which you literally can't do anything.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
and you can't even move your troops. You are literally useless.
If your
Yep.
troops are already moving when you start shuffling, they keep moving, but
You otherwise can't defend yourself.
right.
and well, so that's not the only major problem here. I'd say the other big one are powers and spells.
Mm-hmm.
They can be really finicky to use.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
like there's an AoE flame dot. It's
Mm-hmm.
all but useless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, so they had the bright idea of like having the um, waypoints and I forget what they call them, like the factories, or where you go to get more energy.
I think they're called
Or-
generators.
Yeah, the generators and the enemy harbingers. They're all protected from this shit. And what's
Mhm.
worse is if you if the radius hits the tech shield, it'll just cancel out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can't use your blast things on most. The only thing you can really use it on is like normal troops.
Yeah, that's not a
Yep.
problem in of itself, but it's more the there's a lot of regular enemies around these things, and you can't use them. You know, it's one of those small things that just ended up breaking this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I would have probably modified my glyph deck to take out most of the less useful blast and stuff, but you only get new glyphs when you like do a match or beat the game or beat a stage or something, and that takes a while.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
you can also go to the forge. Like, I think you get a certain amount of currency every day, but you know that'll take a while.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what I'm saying is you don't, and it's not like you get booster packs. You get like, oh, I won a match, I got like five individual glyphs.
Yeah.
It also doesn't really do the trading card segment well, because there's like you get everything pretty much individually. Like
It's collectible card, not trading card, really. And
whatever term you want to use.
no, I'm just saying, like, if you had the ability to trade with other people to get the things you want, that might help.
Yeah, I could see that. Or when we covered Fable Fortune, they had booster packs. They had booster
Mhm.
packs. The cards came in like packs of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what you expect out of a card game segment. Here, I'm like, not so much. Like, it's going to be a slow build for your deck.
If you do well, you get maybe 4 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, or you get some cards and some mana, let's say. Whatever the currency they're called, to forge cards. Like, there's also no system. I didn't see any system to like get rid of cards to craft new ones. Once again, like Fable Fortune had.
Yeah. Like, I wouldn't mind burning all those pacifism cards because they're basically crap.
I got one of those to work once. They're pretty much the only thing. The thing about those is that you have to target like an individual thing, and most of the things are too small to target easily. But it works.
And like the big things are immune to it.
Not all of the big things are. The guys with the sword and shield can definitely be targeted, and I think the normal destroyers can too. Just not the super. Anyway, what you use those for is basically when you're trying to have your dudes take on an enemy dude.
Right.
Like if you have three, like a couple of units of ordinary infantry, and you're trying to take out an enemy that normally would be able to destroy those. It's still pretty useless. I'm just saying it does have a theoretical use.
Right. Oh. This game is also, how do I put this? Grimdark. You know, it's like, it's about the level of Warhammer 40,000 without the edge of comedy. Either.
Yeah, basically 40K, but played totally straight.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know that people think 40K is, that it isn't. Like, it's so ridiculous. It goes over the top.
Yeah, it was originally very much a joke thing, or like a intentionally exaggerated thing. Some people who work on it have bought into the series, like do it straight, but not all of them.
Right. And I will admit it does depend on what you're playing as. Like the Space Marines are certainly more serious than the Orcs. Like, just the Orcs, everything about them is, over the top parody. And that one's fairly obvious. At least I hope it is. Anyway, yeah. Like, Golem Gates features some inscrutable, and I do mean inscrutable, plot about, I'll be honest, something. Like, I had no idea what was going on here. Like, you're some harbinger who's under the guide of some energy being. Like, you're talking to some golden sun, and, your tasks are, well, to destroy the actual, like, the Golem Gates are not quite as you'd think that they would be. Like, they're not actually golems. They're like, I'm trying to figure out how to describe them properly. Like, they're like these
factories almost.
Yeah, they're like these, generators of other machines and such.
And mind you, you don't deal with them you don't deal with those every mission. Like, sometimes you will get to enemy harbingers, like, who you are opposing for, once again, vague reasons. Like, it's all very, very dense and impossible to follow. It's like, and the game is also short. In terms of single player content.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of designed mostly for multiplayer.
Yeah.
When it works.
Yeah, the main campaign is only 15 missions. Now, with that in mind, it does one of the oldest tricks in the book in terms of extending gameplay length. And that is, you have a short amount of missions, make them fucking tough.
Yep.
It's like, the first few missions will be easy enough, but by the end of chapter 1, you're going to hit some shockingly huge difficulty spikes.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, all of this is exacerbated by the flow of the cards, as it were. Like, I almost got chapter, to the end of chapter 1, but, that my hand wasn't what I needed it to be, and I died.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, I know it's a point we keep bringing up, but the random cards thing just so didn't work.
Well, and like you can't like redraw or anything if you get
Unless
a
you use the spells.
well, it's like if you have nothing but spells you can't use, you're
Mhm.
boned.
Mm-hmm.
You can't ask for a redraw. Like there is a discard thing, but then you have to wait for it to redraw.
Yeah, I thought that was odd that you couldn't reshuffle at any time.
Damn, you
Yeah.
guys sound like terrible astrologians. Damn it,
Eh,
Spire. Damn it, Spire. Damn it, Spire.
Yeah. Now, as far as the actual graphics go, so this game was created by a company called Laser Guided Games, and they are made up of former staffers of Epic Games. So, yeah, this is using Unreal Engine 4. Like, and it's like, in terms of fidelity, the game looks pretty good. Like, it's
Mhm.
just its art direction is pretty uninspired, and it's like it really doubled down on the real is, well, in this case, gray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, if you're a fan of gunmetal, yeah, this is the game for you. It's like very, very grimdark color schemes. So, except when you're in multiplayer, then you get to see flourishes of actual color there.
Yep. Plenty of purple and orange during our multiplayer session.
I mean, honestly, you're probably getting more color off the Fog of War than anything else.
Yeah.
Like, that's not necessarily bad, but it is an aesthetical choice that that doesn't connect with everybody. Like, I will say it's certainly a consistent theme. Like, sound and music. God,
it had
yeah,
them.
I am having a hell of a time remembering like any music and like it had music, but
Mhm.
Yeah, I turned the sound way down. It kind of opened with a blare, and then
Yeah, like and especially this does a stupid thing where if you have the game muted, like your base under attack still plays when the game's muted.
yeah.
Mhm.
But what I really want to talk about is the sound, and that is to say, the speech. Oh God! Once again, who thought it was a good idea to have them whisper mumble everything?
Mhm.
I'm
yeah,
like,
it's under it's a vocal modulating thing to make it sound eldritch, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
And by eldritch we mean hard to understand.
Yeah. It's like I'm just glad there were subtitles. Otherwise, yeah, I wasn't understanding what anyone was saying. Once again, I know it was a deliberate choice, but still, it was more annoying than anything else. Like, let's see. Um, so pricing. So the good news is this doesn't have like a MOBA or free to play payment scheme. Like, it is one purchase and you do get everything. Although once again, um, that does have the drawback of not being able to like engage in booster packs or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, this game is clocking in at $30.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's like I don't. I'm like have that price at least.
Yeah,
And
if
then,
you could get this at a deep discount, it might be fun, but I don't think it's worth $30.
no,
No.
no, it's not worth $30. Not,
Maybe 20.
yeah,
Well,
it's like,
maybe if they would fix a stasis system where you could at least, move your units or something, not totally lock you out, or like let you cancel it, because that was one of the problems I was having Friday in the multiplayer. I had to stasis, but I couldn't even cancel it to move my units to safety. I was literally sitting there watching all my dudes get slaughtered. So yeah,
more to the. Whoa, who dropped?
that was Twilight.
Yeah, yeah. More to the point, we're talking about a price range that puts it in, big age, fucking Age of Empires and Age of Mythology and all that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For that amount of money, you could buy Dawn of War and get a much more complete and meaty experience. Like,
Also without the ridiculous card crap.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
it's not as, I guess, innovative as this game is, but innovation isn't the end all be all.
Yeah.
Like,
they tried the thing. It's not very well implemented though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it would be better if there were like a couple of things you could do without having to worry about card draws.
Like, technically you can have your Harbinger attack if you want to lose early.
Right.
Well, having your Harbinger attack is a valid tactic depending on what you're attacking.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because he has a shit ton of hit points and is really powerful. Taking out like a nearby base, yeah, that works.
It's throwing him headlong into the enemy troops, not so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Once again, it kind of depends.
There is actually one thing you can do for free. You can make a little scouty bird thing to try to find the enemy Harbinger or something. Or find a location of things on the map that aren't labeled. Although, most of the important things are labeled on the map.
The one thing it's missing, especially in multiplayer, is a map ping.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. So, I'll let the crew here talk more about the multiplayer, since I didn't really get a chance to try it out at all.
Well, really, there are two major modes. There is survival, where it's outlast the timer.
And that's co-op mode.
Yeah, that's only two people, and then there's versus, which it's a versus mode.
It's about the maps are sort of simultaneously very large and kind of tight feeling sometimes. Like they can take a long time to get across, but there's not really usually a ton of variety in the environment, and there are a lot of semi-narrow passageways.
Also, we had a major bug with the Dallas map, the cross one, where me being the south player, I couldn't get to my Harbinger. I was stuck in the middle of the arena.
Mm-hmm.
And it technically I think can have 8 players, but right now there isn't any 8-player maps.
Yeah, at the very least it can have 2 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a lot of them, even if it's 4 players, you're on teams of 2.
Well, you can make it be separate teams, but
yeah, you also bring in an AI with you as well if you're liking people.
And the AI was the first match they seemed to be better than we were, but the second match, I think Petty Fan took it out pretty easily while I was not in that.
Well, I got the drop on him, literally.
Pretty much.
I noticed he was over there. I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to let you live. But yeah, like the decent thing with the AI is they have different kind of modes. Like there's a random AI focus, a balanced focus, a rush focus, and a turtle focus.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps.
Well,
Yeah.
anything else?
Honestly, it's just it uses the deck you already have. Like they don't give you a set deck.
Yeah,
So
so
if
it
you
can be
don't
kind of unbalanced if one player is a lot more experienced.
Yeah, like if you're playing against your buddy who's, beaten the campaign and has a whole bunch of cards, they're going to smoke you.
Also, I don't
Yeah.
know if there's a voice chat function, but you're gonna want to have voice
There-
chat with your teammate.
There is a mute voice chat option, so I assume the game does have its own voice chat, which might have
Okay.
explained why Skype was causing Adam issues.
Mhm.
Probably.
I'm just saying you want to have communication because you want to be able to tell your team that, oh, I'm handling this part of the map or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
What was the other thing? There was something else with the AI or something. I know. I didn't hate the multiplayer mode.
Neither did I.
Like if you have
But
some
it's-
friends, multiplayer for this wouldn't be bad, but again, it's not $30 worth it.
Oh yeah.
No.
The interesting thing, when you're playing multiplayer on a team, if you move over to where your teammates are, you can see that area, but you don't have clear sight to that area, meaning you can't actually build there.
Yeah, like I can see if I could see if Golix was getting attacked, but if I wanted to like get troops over there, I had to send I had to send a troop so I could get, clear sight.
Yeah,
To
pretty much
build
you have
on
to
him.
build first near your harbinger, and then after that you can build near the things that you built, and then you can build structures, and then you can build near the structures, but the structures can be destroyed and then you lose that area of sight. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what gives the most clear sight is structures. Then it's scouts, generators, and then infantry.
mhm.
And then like survival is just kind of a basic survival game.
Yep, you defend yourself against a horde.
Yeah, you basically just kind of you and your buddy turtle up in their bases and fend off the dudes. If you get decent pulls, then you win. If you don't, you get wiped out.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, survival might be good for a laugh, but it's not something you'd be like, "Hey, dude, let's go play survival." It's like, nah, man. And then I guess the other mode is a challenge mode, but
Yeah, we didn't look at that a ton. It's just to try to accomplish slightly more complex than usual scenarios in a non-campaign based thing. So
Yeah.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, if it was like 10 or 12 bucks, I would honestly recommend this game to like try at least if you like real-time strategy type stuff. But
If I say wait for a sale to give it at least a shot.
yeah,
Or if you're interested in seeing how this works as a card game RTS, but otherwise, yeah, it's actually worth it.
yeah, the concept could be done better.
Yeah.
We're all on the same page here, more or less. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's an interesting idea. It's just its execution is off kilter,
Yeah.
and maybe a sequel can fix the problems illuminated here, or I'm like, I don't think like a patch would do it. Like considering how much this card game is the core of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Well, like, even just letting you move your troops while in stasis would help significantly, but it wouldn't be the, there's still other issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more that you can do that's not randomized.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A little bit more that can allow you to plan around how you're gonna
Like, give
take on
the
enemies.
Harbinger ability to pop up free troops on, like, a cooldown or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, like, throw up a turret next to them, but they're bound to it until the turret is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, I think that'll about do it for this review. Be sure to tune in after the break, as we'll be talking about an adventure game called Dark Grim Mariopolis. This is certainly a curious game.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you'll be seeing that once we have the video footage. But it's awesome. I will preface this by saying I don't think anyone here got that far in the game. It's an adventure game, and the thing of it is, this is I hesitate to say not a popular adventure game, but it's underground enough where there are no guides.
Yeah.
That might be a selling point for some people, but that also means if we get stuck somewhere, we get stuck somewhere.
Yep.
So, keeping that in mind, we'll be back in a little bit to talk more about the everything else about Mariopolis. And until then, I wish you good gaming.